Joining me now, Michael Schumacher is head of macro strategy at Wells Fargo. Brian Reynolds is chief market strategist for Reynolds Strategy. And the one thing you both agree on is kind of the opposite of what Kaplan was just saying. He still thinks we should do an early taper. Both of you seem to think not so fast. Michael, I'll start with you. You say ignore the chorus and wait for the lead singer, meaning let's wait to see what Powell has to say, right?
That's right, Kelly. And Jay Powell so far has been batting away questions about tapering right and left. Any press conference, he just swats them away. And if you think about it from his perspective, what does he really care about? He cares about the labor market, which is doing better, but he's not going to really know a lot about it until September. So next month, people go back to school. We'll know more about the status of the labor market with respect to unemployment benefits rolling off. Those data come out in October. So we think it's probably too soon by at least a couple of months for Jay Powell to get excited about tapering.
And
so you
Brian,
gotta wait.
Sure, you think, Brian, that the reason will become less pressing because inflation to you has peaked. You're looking at used car prices. You're seeing things roll over there, right?
Last week, I wrote that this edition of the reflation trade is likely over. It's stretched. Most people are looking for higher prices. I noted that wholesale used car prices are going down. The CPI used car component lags that by 2 to 4 months. Today, we saw the CPI for used cars go from 10% to 0.2. That's pretty much in line with what I was expecting, which means that I think next month we get a negative number for the CPI of used cars. Additionally, oil prices are very vulnerable. If you look at the oil price curve, it inverted in the middle of the curve from 24 to 25. That tells me there's a greater risk of oil prices coming down than going up.
And I know that you're thinking, if we're rolling over on the inflation picture, bond yields are probably headed lower, stock prices higher. We've talked quite a few times about that. Michael, is that your view as well here? I was just saying to Rick, where's all this buying demand coming from? He says, it's everywhere, basically. There's such demand. Robert Kaplan, I think, said the same kind of thing, that there's huge demand for there's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of demand for treasuries. And if Michael's right, there's not going to be a big concern about inflation and the trade-off in holding some of this paper for the next little while.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit too soon to say the inflation dragon is dead. We'd say peak inflation has probably arrived and passed. I'd agree with that. My friends in Wells Fargo Economics do a lot of great work, and they make the case that core inflation is still going to be very high through the balance, not just this year, but next year. So the inflation backdrop's improving, but it's not great. So to the question of why people are buying treasuries, I think Rick had it right. The market's backed up 6, 7 sessions in a row. Inflation does look like the peak is passed. So maybe from a tactical standpoint, a decent time to get in. But for a fundamental buyer, for most of your viewers, Kelly, I'd say wait.
Okay.
Take it easy, take a deep breath. Not quite time to get in.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.